The psychological impact of constant global conflict, exposure, on Gen Alpha youth. What happens when a child's first memories of the world are not playgrounds, cartoons, or laughter, but war, crisis, and chaos? What happens when, before they even understand what a country is, they've already seen one destroyed? This is not a hypothetical question. This is the reality of Generation Alpha, born into a world where conflict is no longer distant, but streamed, replayed, and algorithmically delivered directly into their hands. A generation that doesn't just hear about war, they watch it in real time. And today, we're going to explore something most people are not paying attention to: how constant exposure to global conflict is quietly shaping the minds, emotions, and identities of the youngest generation alive. Because the real battlefield might not be overseas, it might be inside their minds. Part 1. A generation raised by the feed. Generation Alpha is the first generation in history to grow up fully immersed in digital reality from birth. They don't go online. They live there. News isn't something they seek out. It finds them. Through TikTok clips, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels. War is no longer an abstract concept explained by adults. It's visual, immediate, emotional. A missile strike isn't described. It's seen. A crying child in a war zone isn't imagined. It's felt. And here's the critical shift. In previous generations, conflict was filtered. Now, it's raw, unedited, uncontextualized, and constant. Which means Gen Alpha is not just learning about the world. They are emotionally absorbing it. Without the psychological tools to process what they're seeing. Part 2. The normalization of crisis. When exposure becomes constant, the abnormal starts to feel normal. Children today can scroll from a funny dance video to footage of destruction and back to entertainment in seconds. No pause, no explanation, no emotional processing. This creates something deeply concerning: emotional desensitization. Not because they don't care, but because their minds are trying to protect them. When the brain is overwhelmed repeatedly, it adapts. It dulls emotional response to survive the overload. So instead of shock, there's numbness. Instead of empathy, there's detachment. And over time, this creates a generation that may struggle to fully connect with real-world suffering. Not because they are cold, but because they've been overloaded. Part 3. Anxiety without context. Imagine feeling fear without fully understanding why. That's what many Gen Alpha kids are experiencing. They see conflict, violence, instability, but they don't have the cognitive framework to process it. So what happens? The fear doesn't disappear. It internalizes. It becomes generalized anxiety, a constant sense of danger, a belief that the world is unsafe, even in environments that are objectively secure. This creates a psychological contradiction. They live in relative safety, but feel like they're in danger. And when a child grows up believing the world is unstable, it changes how they think, behave, and relate to others. Part 4. The collapse of distance. In the past, distance protected the mind. War happening thousands of miles away felt far away. Today, distance has collapsed. A child in the United States can witness events happening across the world. Within seconds, geography no longer buffers emotional impact. This creates something new: globalized empathy, but also globalized trauma. They don't just care about their local world. They carry emotional weight from conflicts they don't fully understand and cannot influence. That sense of helplessness is psychologically significant because humans are not designed to process constant crisis without agency. Part 5. The algorithm doesn't care. Here's a difficult truth. The content Gen Alpha consumes is not neutral. It is curated by algorithms. And algorithms are not designed for mental health. They are designed for engagement, which means emotionally intense content. Fear, anger, shock is more likely to be shown. More clicks, more views, more time spent. So a child who watches one video about conflict is likely to see 10 more, not because they searched for it, but because the system decided it would keep them watching. This creates a feedback loop of emotional stimulation without resolution. And over time, this can lead to heightened stress, emotional fatigue, distorted perception of reality, where the world appears more dangerous than it statistically is. Part 6. Identity formation under pressure. Childhood is supposed to be a time of identity formation, a time to explore, imagine, and build a sense of self. But what happens when that process is interrupted by constant exposure to crisis? Gen Alpha is forming their identity. In a world that feels unstable, this can lead to increased cynicism at a young age, loss of innocence earlier than previous generations, a worldview shaped by fear rather than curiosity. Instead of asking, "What can I become?" they may unconsciously ask, "Is the future even safe?" And that question changes everything. Part 7. What this means for the future. If left unaddressed, these psychological patterns don't disappear. They evolve into adulthood. A generation raised on constant exposure to conflict may become more anxious teens, more risk-averse, more emotionally guarded. But there's another possibility. They could also become more globally aware, more empathetic, more motivated to create change. The outcome is not fixed. It depends on what happens next. Conclusion. The question is not whether Gen Alpha is being affected. They are. The real question is, are we paying attention? Because this is not just about screen time. It's about emotional development. It's about mental resilience. It's about the future of an entire generation. And if we want to protect that future, we need to start asking better questions. What are they seeing? How are they processing it? Who is helping them understand the world they're inheriting? Because if we don't guide them, the algorithm will. And that's not a system designed to raise healthy minds. It's a system designed to keep them watching. So, the responsibility is ours. If this made you think differently about the next generation, subscribe. Because the conversations we're having here are the ones most people are avoiding, and they matter more than ever.